destination.
The Senate won't approve funding for that.
How are we doing with everything? We're behind on everything military, behind on research as well. Yeah, it's very rare for cultural overthrows to happen, but it can. No disruptor. I'm gonna get you a little bit farther in.
Policy research complete.
It won't do us. It won't do us. It won't do us much good in this battle. But that ability does require being a little bit closer in range.
Peace is a dream we've been chasing for a long time.
All right, our other envoy's done.
What's our destination?
We're just gonna go down here.
Shall I speak on your
As
behalf?
soon as you end the negotiations, they just
Commencing
go to
phase
kill
jump.
you. They're not really your friends.
Policy research complete.
There used to be a random event with the Siruvi where they'd spawn, and they can still sort of do this, but it's more limited. So they spawn, and then they colonize a planet. If they spawn on a neutral planet, and with that planet colonized, it'll spawn in more units, and they'll go to the next planet over, and they can colonize that planet, which will spawn more units. So if that random event happened, it would basically turn the game into a survival situation. It could get really, really difficult to survive in that area. The Minor Factions, you mean the yeah, so I do mean the DLC. I think the Minor Factions DLC is probably the best DLC they've ever had for the game, except Rebellion, obviously, because Rebellion is great. It was standalone.
Shall I speak on your behalf?
And they... Oh, there's another Imperial one there too. But with everything that that Ironclad says, or Stardock says, they do seem to intend to continue support for the game. Whether that'll mean in the future potentially like a sequel, more DLC, whatever. Who knows? But it's definitely not a game that's being abandoned, and they're still... I've been trying to push for getting Minor Factions DLC, or getting mods in some kind of like Steam Workshop situation. Because that would make it so much easier for mods to distribute and update with a game that's so based around multiplayer. But they do seem to have some kind of idea for where to go with that, which I enjoy. I'm happy. Well, you have a non-DLC version. So having the DLC or not doesn't prevent you from playing any version of the mod. We don't need to release a different version for it. It just means you wouldn't be able to use the new DLC functions. So, like, you'd get the exact same mod, you just wouldn't be able to turn on Minor Factions without the DLC. So there's no other changes that need to be made for it. Because that's how the base game works as well. Right, let's start working on some other...
The Senate won't approve funding for that.
I want to get all of this
We have finished
as researched as possible. And you guys, you're good up here. Okay, there's nothing else we need to worry about up there, so we can go down to Ojom. So the DLC for Sins actually works the same way as that as well, where if the host of the multiplayer game has it, then everyone has it for that game.
What's our destination?
So like in community matches for Ascendancy, I tend to have all the DLC stuff turned on, except for Except for Rampant militias, because I am not a fan of Rampant militias. This might be a good place for another shipyard. We definitely need this. And broadcast centers? No, not here. Maybe have that at Ojam.
We have finished a planetary upgrade.
Envoy at your service.
You've made it. The other envoys have not.
Envoy at your service. Very well. What's our destination?
Alright, I'm gonna go for Paulos. What's Rampant militias do? So, Rampant militias, it makes randomly some militia will spawn at a planet. And they basically are free reinforcements for your planet.
At your service. Shall I speak on
At
your
first
behalf?
it was especially bad because they didn't take into account who actually owned the planet, so it'd be TAC militias for everyone. Now you can have it specified by faction, which makes it better, but it's still honestly one of the weaker DLCs for the game. It's stuff that you could basically accomplish through buffs already anyways. Buffs being like the quote-unquote building blocks for scripts and sins. Because you can't do like actual scripting, it's different sets of effects that stack on each other.
Funding for that. The Senate won't approve funding for that.
Oh. Well, we might be able to win this, especially if we can... We're on Brintel, assault target. Let's get some allies in here. This is a updated secondary model. The normal map's a little bit strong on it and makes it look a little bit weird. So I kind of want to adjust that. Again, the icons, if there's probably been an episode split, so that's one of the bugs that I need to fix still. It's mostly icon stuff that we're still working on. Yeah, Minor Factions is really cheap. Sins, I think the Sin sale is over by the time this video is going out. I'm not sure if it's still going on when the stream is happening, but the game isn't that expensive in general, and the
policy research complete.
Minor Factions as well, not expensive either. So let's get more envoys.
What's our destination?
It's over? Yeah, there are a few DLCs that I'll usually tell people they can skip for sins, like Distant Worlds or whatever. Forbidden Worlds is mostly skippable because most mods they add their own planet types anyways, but other than that, you only get like the industry and social specialization on planets. Where are those reinforcements? Okay, there they are. Ooh, and it's a VSD in this one. Yeah, this might be enough to turn the tide.
We've been chasing for a long time.
See if we can focus down this here. I'm just gonna go quickly do a development run. Check out what's going on here. Almost got that, that's good.
Policy research complete.
We've got 2 envoys. So whichever one is not doing
What's
this,
our destination?
I'm gonna send into Marikai.
Ambassador's work is never done.
We have
There we go, we're
established
back.
a garrison in a new system.
Shields are almost down.
Peace is a dream we've been chasing for a long time.
Outlaw Sectors is the other one that I usually tell people they can probably skip. Because that's the one that just adds the Rampant militias. Which again, if you're just playing for mods, if they want to take advantage of it, there's usually
One of our star cruisers
other ways to do it.
damaged. Policy research complete.
We have to abandon our allies here. Okay, let's get that upgraded.
We need to
Get 2 more of those. That fleet's kind of small. Okay, they're turning around there.
The star cruiser has been lost.
No, we already lost that stuff. Well, let's just see if we can take out anything with them then. Did we already lose our envoy?
Shall I
Nope.
speak on your behalf?
still
Envoy at your
going.
service.
'Cause I think this does have an assault ability? No. Okay, so it's just the Imperial ones that do right now.
What's our destination?
So
Shall
I'm
I
actually going to send them
speak on your behalf?
for Singe. Stellar Phenomena is good because it adds random events, which are very flexible for mods especially. In the base game, the random events are... some of them are kind of cool, but they're not that... they're nothing very exciting.
Where to, Commander?
But because they work off of buff chains, modders can do a lot with them. It's something that I really want to start focusing on more in Ascendancy. But the two that I will usually tell people they ought to get are Stellar Phenomena and Minor Factions. That is my
Policy research.
Sin's recommendation. Ooh, let's get MC90s. Once we have Ojam...
What's our destination?
Well, Rebellion, if you're buying Sins at this point, you're buying Rebellion.
Shall
Because
I
it's the
speak on your
standalone
behalf?
thing. Like, it was a standalone expansion with all the...
Peace is the way
oh, crap.
forward.
With all the features from...
Policy research complete.
Diplomacy and Entrenchment.
We have finished a
Do the
planetary
X assessment of the
upgrade.
Tides Fall requiring boarding equipment. I think that's one of the things that limits it over other faction ships.
Policy
like-
research complete.
They can't operate independently, and that's one of the reasons why. But considering how the Empire used them, I don't think it's that big a problem.
The enemy has engaged our forces.
So we've switched
Research complete.
Garmbel or Talon Card and Leia as recruitable heroes. His Talon Card is not the most useful. We need to remove his research, but
Victory cruiser ready.
at least with Leia we have another Star Destroyer for them with Rebel Green.
Engage thrusters.
So Trinity was what the... so there was Sins of a Solar Empire, then they released Sins of a Solar Empire Entrenchment, which was the first major expansion. This is not good. Then they released Sins of a Solar Empire Diplomacy, which added all the diplomatic features, which honestly I think a lot of them ended up being
Envoy at
more
your
hurtful
service.
than helpful. I'm going to try to retreat to Zinja's planet. But
Policy research complete.
can we get... let's get some broadcasting going over here. But then after Diplomacy came out, they re-released, they did like Trinity as a kind of deluxe edition where you could get all three, like base game, Entrenchment, and Diplomacy together. So you only needed to buy one thing. But then the next expansion, Rebellion, which is what added the split between the factions. So you had the Loyalists
One of our
and
star
the
cruisers is heavily
Rebels, the TEC Loyalists, TEC Rebels, the Basari and Advent Loyalists and Rebels, and then also some extra research, the Titans, and some other just general engine upgrades. That was released as a standalone expansion, so you didn't need to buy any of the previous expansions. Like, you could just buy Rebellion. And so Trinity was the version before that, so you don't need Trinity anymore. Basically, what happened. So this is all pretty well coming together. But I want to send a defense fleet over there. No, Talon Card isn't the flagship. I can't remember what we did or what we're going to do. I think it's going to be...
We have finished a planetary upgrade.
Mon Mothma or something? But... we're not as concerned with the Regicide game mode. It's just the New Republic's Hero Suite with Talon Card wasn't fantastic. So card won't be available. Can you do assist defense? You can. Let's see if we can assault that target. We'll wait for them to spawn in their stuff. There we go. Bunch of Dreadnoughts, some Lancers. We're gonna go with them. We're gonna try to take Berlemia.
We have finished a planetary upgrade.
Does the mod require Sins Remastered? No. It doesn't require anything.
Exchange rates lowered in Outer Rim sectors.
Engage thrusters.
It also doesn't support the shader changes of Sins
Victory cruiser
Remastered.
ready.
I'm not sure whether we would want to support the changes there. Like, the PBR shaders are interesting, but I'm not sure how much of an improvement they actually are. Looks like this was Garmbel Iblis's fleet from the random event. Yeah.
Policy research complete.
Between both of these fleets, are we going to be able to...
The enemy has engaged our forces.
Well, the Bellator? I don't think so. While the Bellator is focusing on Garmbel Iblis's forces, see if we can do any damage here.
The planet is under attack.
Of course, the AI is going to go with that. I'd rather you guys went for the Bellator, you know? Because it's kind of dangerous. Down to half shields.
One of our star cruisers is heavily damaged.
Captain on deck. Ahead full. Loose missiles. Captain on deck. Loose missiles. What are your orders? Victory cruiser ready. Attack!
Policy research complete. We have reached our designated coordinates.
Right, that Bellator is just going to kill all their stuff. Luckily, it's not any of our stuff hanging around anymore. But our bigger fleets are much farther away. Let me try to call us into...
Envoy at your service.
No.
Policy research complete.
Alright, let's get the rest of these income ones, and then get some military upgrades for our ships. We do need another military lab. That'll get us to Akbar. Ooh, they're assaulting the Chiss.
A star cruiser has been lost.
I guess we'll just have to try to defend
A star cruiser has been
Zinj's
lost.
planet here.
We have finished a planetary upgrade.
Not sure how this is still here. I guess that fleet can come in from here, and yeah, that'll be able to hold up to that. We'll make some progress there.
Research complete.
Envoy at your service. Shall I speak on your behalf?
No, oops, no, there we go. Didn't mean to do
Planet
that.
is under attack. We have finished a planetary upgrade.
Victory cruiser ready. Helm, move us out.
Let's go. Do you like the new version of Imperial Shock Troopers or the Red Marks compared to the old ones, only Pauldron? So most media will basically just introduce and change whatever they need for whatever their purposes are. I never really had a problem or even an opinion on different visual appearances and different stuff. Like, if you look at Jedi Knight, they had, like, they just introduce whatever they need for whatever levels. Then you get Battlefront, and it's whatever classes need. Then you get to a comic book, and if they want to have a trooper outfitted with something, then they'd introduce whatever they need that way. So it's never been an especially consistent thing, and I'm sure it'll continue to change.
We have finished a planetary upgrade.
So I'm not particularly married to any appearance of anything like that.
What are your orders? Attack! Captain on deck. Attack! Victory cruiser ready.
Alright, that ISD first.
Policy Research complete.
Get Akbar and endurance researched. More this. Accuse is your favorite ship. What's your second favorite ship? I don't know that I have a second favorite ship.
What are your orders? Attack!
The Rakissan's really the only one that stands out as clearly my favorite.
What are your orders? Attack!
I guess Providence is then. I do generally like
Victory
CIS
cruiser
ship
ready.
designs.
Gun crews
Right,
fire.
ISD's dead.
We have finished the planetary upgrade.
No, I don't think I can target enemy planets with that. I need to... Where are you? There it is. Oh, it's not done researching. I think we also need to upgrade that a little bit.
What are your orders? Victory cruiser ready.
With the capital ship gone, they may retreat,
One of our
but
star
most of their
cruisers is
damage is
heavily
coming from the precursors right now. Really like to see a mod that has a new cannon in. So I think one of the reasons that there's not as much new cannon content coming out is, for one thing, very few mods make their own models, so a lot of mods end up
Policy research
kind of
complete.
held to whatever is already available. Like the vast majority of Empire War mods don't make their own. A lot of Sins mods do. But the other problem, which I think is probably the bigger reason we don't see as much, is that there's not quite fully fleshed out factions for it yet. So like you have one or two ships for some of them, especially the First Order,
Captain on
but
deck.
not necessarily enough for a full faction. And the more we have media
Captain on
like
deck.
Rebels, Resistance,
What are your orders?
Return of Clone
Victory
Wars, kind of
cruiser
adding
ready.
some more stuff that can be used,
Attack!
that'll probably start shifting a bit. KOTOR Air is really another one that kind of suffers from that, where it's really popular, but if you look at
Victory
what's
cruiser
there
ready.
for it, there's a lot of gaps that need to be filled if you want to make a mod.
Gun crews fire.
Because Tor added in a lot of stuff
The
that's kind of
enemy's
usable,
engaged our
but
forces.
it's also a significant amount of time
Loose
after
missiles.
the original Knights of the Old Republic. Right, we gotta retreat. Well, it's not even that you have different variants, it's that you just have the hammerhead. And then nothing. And I want...
Planet is under a
We'll need two more...
attack.
A mini dump has occurred. Do I have an autosave, though? There are a couple Old Republic mods, but they're not especially fleshed out, especially on ground.
Our many
Uh-oh. Alright, I'm gonna have to go into the folder. I mean, Raw has new units, but I think Phoenix Rising, AOTR, the Clone Wars 4.0 actually, and Thrawn's Revenge are the only ones that have put like a significant amount of resources into doing more than just adding the units. Like the thing with Republic at War was always that it was a like Xerox, at least when he was running it and when he started it, he was trying to have it be as close to Empire at War as possible. All right, unfortunately there's not an autosave for that, so I must have had autosave off or something. But I guess that'll be a two-part series there, but hopefully that's given an okay idea of where the mod is going with that. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll stay on for a couple minutes here to talk to the chat a little bit, but I'm going to end the recording there. There will be a full playthrough with Ascendancy coming up as soon as we have some other stuff fixed, a bit more fleshed out. But unfortunate way to end there. But yeah, so bye everyone.